Lesson 4.6, the rules of exponents. This is in your new blue note packet. What we're going to be working with today is multiplying and dividing exponent expressions. So in your blue notes, the learning target is that I can simplify powers using properties. The product of powers property and the quotient of powers property are going to be coming up on the next couple of pages, and you will fill those in here. What I will have you do is right below, and I know there isn't a lot of room, we're going to actually just put example 1, example 2. You're going to have 3A and B. So when you put down the examples, this is where you're going to put those. What you'll do on the previous page is some extra homework problems or some practice problems. Some we'll do together and some on your own. So what does the product of powers mean? You've actually been doing this as we've been working with some of the problems. So what you're going to write down is to multiply powers with the same base, you add their exponents. The key thing is you need to know where the base and exponents are. The exponent is the m. The base, in this case, is the a. So if I have a to the m times a to the n, that means you're going to have equal to a, and you're going to add these. So here's a number problem that you're going to see. 4 to the 5th times 4 to the 3rd is equal to 4. You've got to make sure these are exponents. 5 plus 3, 4 to the 8th. This is our answer as a power. So whenever you're asked to leave your answer as a power, it means that you need to have a base and an exponent. That's what it means by leaving your answer as a power. So here is example 1 that I was talking about that you're going to write under your notes. You're going to put example 1, put x to the 2nd times x to the 8th. So what does our rule say? Our rule says that this really means 2 x's and this means 8. So when we multiply them together, we really have 2 plus 8, which is equal to x to the 10th. Put that down for example 1, right below your notes. Example 2. A little different as we are looking at that. We're using product of powers property. It says, watch out. Remember that a number raised to the first power are usually written without the exponent. For example, 2 to the first is actually written as just 2. So you got to be careful for that. So in this problem, what we want to do is we want to, since multiplication is commutative, we're going to rewrite the problem as 2 to the 4th times 2, and we're going to put that 1 in there for an exponent, times x to the 3rd times x to the 4th. So that now as we multiply, we're going to use our exponent rules, which say since the base is the same, we both have 2, we can add our exponent to 4 plus 1. X is the same base. We're going to add our exponent of 3 plus 4. And our final answer will be 2 to the 5th and x to the 7th. And we're going to leave our answer in that form for example 2. The quotient powers property. This is the second box you're going to fill in. Put down these words. To divide two powers with the same non-zero base, remember the base is our lower number, our a in this case, you subtract the exponents of the denominator from the exponents of the numerator. A to the m divided by a to the mth power means we're going to subtract those. So with numbers, 6 to the 8th divided by 6 to the 6th, we're going to subtract our exponents, 8 minus 6, and our answer would be 6 to the 2nd. You can put that all in the one box. You are now going to put example 3. So example 3, as we talked about at the beginning, you want to put this right below example 1. There's going to be 3a and 3b. 3a, write down x to the 11th divided by x to the 3rd. Make sure you have these as exponents. Some of you, when I checked your quiz, you kind of had x and then an 11. This is very different. X to the 11th is not the same as x11 like this. And some of you, that's what yours looks like. So our rule says we are going to subtract our exponents. So we're going to take 11 minus 3, which is actually going to give us x equals x to the 8th power. This is our answer as a power. Remember, a power has a base and an exponent. If we look at our second example, b, 7 to the 9th divided by 7 to the 6th. We're going to take 9 minus 6, which actually gives us 7 to the 3rd. On the back of the first page is where I would like you to write out guided practice. There's actually going to be 8 with today's lesson. So we're going to put guided practice, and if you would put 4.6 guided practice. You are going to be asked to simplify the expression, write your answer as a power. So if you would please pause the video and write down question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Depending on how big you write these, you might want to do maybe 1 and 2 going across and then 3 and 4, but pause the video and write those down. What we are going to look at is I'm going to do one of each of these. So if I'm looking at m to the 10th times m to the 5th, remember this means 10 m's and this means 5 m's. Our rule says we are going to not write them all out, but we're going to use our rule that says m to the 15th. You should try it now with number 2. Number 3, x to the 12th divided by x to the 4th. What does our rule say? When we divide, if I have 12 of them up here and 4 down here, we could cancel off 4 of them. But our rule says we're going to take 12 minus 4, which means as a power, we're going to write that as x to the 8th. You should now do number 4. We will check these tomorrow in class. The last example, and I think what I'll have you do is after 1, 2, 3, and 4, right on that same page, you're now going to put example 4. Simplify fractions with powers. So you're going to write down 4a in your notes right below 1, 2, 3, and 4. T to the 6th times t to the 2nd, all divided by t. Now remember, this t is actually t to the 1st power. What are we going to do in our numerator? We are going to add because they're being multiplied. So we get t to the 8th divided by t to the 1. What does our quotient rule say? It says take t to the 8th and minus 1. So our final answer would be t to the 7th. One of the things here, it says watch out. The base of a power must be the same to use the power or quotient property. So in part B of example 4, you cannot simplify the numerator any further because of the base. M and n are different. So when we take a look at this, notice we have m to the 3rd and n to the 5th. We cannot combine that to be mn to the 8th. The base had to be the same. So what we can do is use our quotient rule. So if you've written down this problem, part B, pause the video if you need to write it down. We are going to take m to the 3rd, and then what we're going to do is with our exponents of 5 and 4, we're going to be subtracting those. So we have m to the 3rd times n to the 5 minus 4. What is our answer going to be? If we are looking at that solution, we are still going to have m to the 3rd, and now it is going to be n to the 1st. Now, we could put a 1 up here, or we can leave it this way. I will take it either way if you write m to the 3rd and n to the 1st, or if you leave it this way. You now want to do example 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm going to do two of them, and you'll do the other. So if we are taking a look at number 5, you should write this right below example 4 for your guided practice. A times a to the 7th divided by a to the 4th, remembering our rule. I'm going to put in a 1. First thing, since they both have the same base, I'm going to rewrite that as a to the 8th, 7 plus 1, divided by a to the 4th. Since the base is the same, I'm now going to use my quotient rule. It says I can take 8 minus 4 to give me a to the 4th power. You want to be able to tell me your answer for number 6. And I think I'll let you guys do 7, and I will look at 8 with you. So in number 8, if you've copied down the problems, x to the 12th times y to the 12th divided by y to the 5th. Again, not the same base, so we're going to keep it as x to the 12th. But then when we write down y to the 12th, we're going to subtract our two exponents. So our final answer will be x to the 12th, and y, in this case, we're going to take 12 minus 5, which gives us y to the 7th. Hopefully this is making sense. Tomorrow in class, we're going to do a worksheet and practice this before moving on. We will either have a quiz towards the end of the period tomorrow or the next period, so make sure you're ready for your exponent rules. And make sure you have your notes. Go back and watch the video if you need to think about what these two rules mean. And have a nice night.